Greetings, my movie geeks. Zack Snyder's Justice League is released this month, and I have to say, I am fully excited. So, I thought for the next couple of weeks I'd revisit the DCEU, or at least the Snyderverse section of the DCEU, because, well, that's where we're headed with the release of the Snyder Cut. But before we get all that, why not like, share, subscribe and ring the bell to be notified whenever a video is released. The bell has been rung.
The bell's already been rung?
Despite the early rumblings of the Snyder Cut already being in existence, it seems like there was about 80% of the film shot prior to Zack Snyder's departure from the project. As such, when Joss Whedon came aboard, there were several reshoots that, if you've seen the 2017's Justice League, you'll know they take up nearly all of the movie and stand out like the moustache on Superman's face. They were jarring and tonally different from what had gone before, but even though it was a complete move away from the prior movies, there were elements that worked. If you look at my review, you'll know I came out quite liking it. I won't name them here, but I will say that I am currently working on an In Defense of Justice League 2017. Defend the indefensible. The dawn of indefensibles. Justice League flopped.
Booyah.
And there was an audience that were crying out for anything from the Snyderverse. Yes, we got Aquaman and Shazam, but there was a hole. There was something missing. Something didn't feel complete. And this is where the Snyder Cut of Justice League comes in. A completion, and most likely change to the movie or movies we were supposed to get. Zack Snyder has been given the chance and the money to finalise his Superman and Justice League story arc with the Snyder Cut. This video will be speculating at what the 4-hour-long Justice League Director's Cut may be doing. Looking at 2017's Justice League, and judging by the trailers then and now, we can safely say that the story will more or less be similar to what we've already seen. Steppenwolf attacks as Superman, the last Kryptonian, has died. The mother boxes have woken and called out across the cosmos to Apocalypse, Darkseid's home world. All fairly straightforward, and repeating what we saw in 2017, albeit with better action and better looking shots. It was a very ugly film. But originally, Justice League was supposed to be split into two separate movies, with some suggestion that the latter would be a kind of retcon of the first instalment. The first would see the newly formed Justice League try and fend off Steppenwolf, but they would ultimately lose. The speculation being because Superman returns from the dead, loses Lois, and turns evil. She is his world after all.
She was my world, and you took her from me.
But then the sequel, to my mind, would have been set during the aftermath and squarely within the nightmare sequence, or the nightmare future that we saw in Batman v Superman. Trenchcoat Batman doing all he can to try and fight off Superman and the parademon armies of Darkseid alone. Or at least, he felt alone in those sequences. The final trailer of Zack Snyder's Justice League suggests he is joined by the majority, if not all, the Justice League. We do see Cyborg behind him as he meets the Joker. Batman v Superman also showed Flash visiting Bruce in the Batcave, trying to warn him that Lois is the key. This sequence followed on directly from the nightmare that Bruce has, suggesting that Flash showed Bruce the future that they were going to enjoy if Lois was to die. Superman falls, and Darkseid conquers the Earth. But as Flash said, he was too early.
Am I too soon? No! I'm too soon! You're right about him! You've always been right about him! Fear him! Find us, Bruce! You have to find us!
And I believe we will see this sequence, but from the Flash's perspective, going back too early and then finding the correct Bruce to warn. I believe the second movie would have involved this time travel element to try and return Earth back from the wasteland we see in the nightmare sequence. As we're getting a 4-hour long cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's feasible to believe that the majority of the movie will take place within the nightmare scenario future, after the Justice League fails to fight off Steppenwolf and Darkseid. There have been additional sequences filmed, which involves Ben Affleck, Jared Leto and Ezra Millar, who did his via green screen. Maybe having him travel through the Speed Force? Maybe. I wouldn't put it past Snyder to potentially include the scene we saw during CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths, where Grant Gustin's Flash met and potentially gave the name of Flash over to Ezra Miller's Flash.
No, I'm also the Flash.
You're also the what?
The Flash?
The Flash? The Flash?
Don't know about the...
Oh my god, don't do this to me. I don't know about the what. You okay? I told Victor this was possible.
What does this mean?
But we'll see. I believe that what we saw in the 2017 version of Justice League, the battle at the power station, may not be the final battle, but a battle that we see not once, but twice. First seeing the Justice League lose and descend into the nightmare future, and then seeing them prevail after Flash helps them time travel. But remember, this is just a theory, so Zack Snyder has been given the opportunity to finish his version of Justice League, and this to me means he has carte blanche over the final product. I read somewhere that he isn't getting paid for doing the film, instead opting for full creative control. And due to this, I think he has so much control over this version that this film will ultimately end the DCEU as we know it. It's potentially Zack Snyder's last venture into the DC universe, and having the chance to end his movies in which he sees is the best way possible, he will want to shock the audience, and the only way to do that will be to either set a path to a crisis or end what he started with Man of Steel. And that will be it. DC can continue what they're doing. The Warner Brothers can continue making different films, solo films. But the DCEU, as we know it and as we named it, will end. Flash will be running straight into his own Flashpoint movie by the end of this movie. Flash being the only film and character that can tie in with this final Snyder film, just like Grant Gustin's Flash in CW's Infinite Earths. Flashpoint we'll see Michael Keaton returning as the Caped Crusader, but also have Ben Affleck reprising his role, suggesting multiple versions of Batman from different Earths within the larger DC multiverse. Aquaman has a sequel and Wonder Woman has her third sequel, but they could go off and continue doing what they're doing, either tying into this or even being standalone. The past weekend saw DC announce that J.J. Abrams will be rebooting and helming a new Superman movie with Ta-Nehisi Coates writing. The suggestion being that they are going to recast the role of Superman. Again, either completely replacing Henry Cavill and starting from scratch, or setting up an Earth within the multiverse. With the Snyder Cut coming out, I believe the film will go all out to close the DCEU. However it happens, I believe Snyder is going to make sure that the characters from this universe have an end. Be that them all living happily ever after, as we saw in 2017's Justice League.
Home. Family. And things entirely new. Or long overlooked. It shows us new possibilities and challenges us to pursue them.
Yeah, and Jerry Manasco runs the whole kit. I mean, he did the Bilbao job 2 years ago. Yeah, it has it all in storage in Croydon. Belgium? Right, yeah.
This time, the light shone on the heroes, coming out of the shadows to tell us we won't be alone again. Our darkness was deep and seemed to swallow all hope. But these heroes were here the whole time to remind us that hope is real, that you can see it. All you have to do is look. Up in the sky.
Or killing Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, as the charity t-shirt hinted at. The Batman appears to be its own entity within the wider multiverse. I can see this being the same with the rebooted Superman movie. Wonder Woman 1984 didn't even appear to have any links to the other movies within the DCEU except for the original Wonder Woman movie. Albeit, it did have a nice homage to Man of Steel. She flies, spoilers. So that's my take on what I believe will be happening with the DCEU during Zack Snyder's Justice League. Lois will die, Superman will be bad for a time, a majority of the movie will be set in a nightmare future, and the DCEU will cease to be, or at least be closed, from the rest of the multiverse. Zack Snyder's Justice League will be the final nail in the coffin that is, or was, for the most part, the DCEU. Well, I say that, if this cut of Justice League does well, I can also see Warner Bros. Actually wanting to continue and build onto it. Their first port of call should be, obviously, to make Man of Steel 2. Hashtag make Man of Steel 2. What do you think will happen in the Snyder Cut? Will he kill off his characters? Will he end the DCEU to make way for the multiverse? Let me know in the comments below and get ready because I'm going to be defending the Snyderverse movies in the run-up to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Thank you for watching, and remember, please like, share, subscribe and ring the bell to be notified every Wednesday. DC's good, but it can be better.